up to individual states. And that's now left a wide variety of action being taken as Eyewitness News at 12:30 starts right now.
Live in high definition from Fox 58 in Bakersfield. This is Eyewitness News at 12:30.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me, Aaron Perlman, here at Eyewitness News. We're going to get straight into the latest of breaking news that's happening right now. Take a live look. This is happening at Bakersfield City Hall for an anti-government lockdown protest that is taking place. You can see tons of folks waving flags. You can hear horns honking. This is a giant, looks like to be some form of a military truck going by. Someone owns with their flag. If we can, Caesar is our photographer out there. If we can look at some of these signs, it's possible. You can hear some of the voices. Let's see what they say. Fear is the real virus. Notice that some of the folks that you can see on some that are holding up these flags is that, oh, there you go, talking about a timeline that you can see there. But most of these people not wearing masks at all. This one says, I want to go back to school. Could be a teacher that is holding that sign. You can see many folks coming out. Originally when this started, it was about 100 people that began that protest. But as you look at this, it's very well likely it could be much more that have lined up on the street. Stop the death of freedom is that person's holding that sign. One interesting thing I think is the most interesting too. One, no masks, and the other being social distancing is not happening. Of course, a lot of these folks wanting to get back to work. When all this is going on, in fact, if it's possible, Caesar, who's our photographer, some of these people, I do recognize, if you can, go to your right, go look, if you can have them, walk straight to that guy right there. Walk straight to that guy. His name is Angelo Frazier. I know he's a pastor, one of the pastors over at River Lakes Church. He's usually willing to talk at times to see if he might be willing to ask. As Caesar works on that, I want to bring up a couple of things that Governor Newsom spoke about. He's currently speaking right now for a State of the Address. He mentioned that there is now 78,000 hotels for frontline workers that now have a place to go between shifts without people being affected at their homes. Also announced that there was 173,000 welfare checks that were sent out. Of course, today, Orange County, all of those beaches are under lockdown. After last weekend, close to 40,000 people went to beaches. Now, that was one side of the street. We're taking another look here. You can see the anti-lockdown protests that continue to go to the other side of the street. That one's right next to the Bakersfield Police station. And many folks just standing lining out. What I also find interesting, you may see folks standing out there without the masks, not social distancing, yet there are many cars honking their horn, encouraging the protest to go on. One thing I can say, it is a moderate protest in the form of that there is no one causing a riot. They're doing their protests, and protests are part of this free country that we're allowed to do. Some of the flags, some of the signs people are wearing. There's a few people wearing some masks there. A nation of sheep will beget a government of wolves, is what that one sign says right there. As you continue to see this continue to take place, let me go ahead and give you some of the latest numbers here in Kern County as you're watching some of this unfold. Kern Public Health now reporting a fourth death this week, and that's interesting because that brings our total now to 8 people that have died of COVID-19. And as you listen to that sobering statistic, there are now 939 residential cases. But we now have a total of 543 people that have recovered, and that is of 10 o'clock this morning when the Kern Public Health Department put that out. And that means we're going to go into the weekend with about 400 cases, a little less than that are active for coronavirus. That means social distancing for those folks is continuing to be a major priority. And on that, you can see, as we look back at live, anti-lockdown protests happening downtown Bakersfield City. You can see there they are holding the flags. I don't know if we're going to be able to get anybody to talk to us. It'd be interesting just to get their statement. exactly what they're saying. I don't know if it's possible. Caesar's doing a great job, our photographer out there. And you notice no one upset. No one making a big havoc out there. They're just waving the flag, saying, hey, look, they want to get back to work. Support our right to freedom to go back. Some folks not being affected at all.
Standing up for freedom.
Why is it important for you guys to be out here?
I think it's important for everyone to be out here. This is, yes, the numbers are in, and something is wrong here. My prayers for the families that have suffered so much. I pray for those on the front lines fighting for freedom. But also, something's not adding up here that I can go into a department store, but I can't sit 6 feet next to someone and worship. So I just don't understand that. Something's happening. So we're out here for freedom. First Amendment says I have the right to freely assemble. I still have that right. And the only way that right can be taken from me is certain things need to happen. But I think we have the right to assemble. We have the right for freedom. And this is a wake-up call for every American, not just here in Bakersfield, but in the country. We have to stand for freedom, because if we don't stand for our constitutional rights, then we're not going to have a country.
And why, it's like, you guys have so much support here. Why is it important for you guys to be out here and open up California?
Open up because small businesses, yes. People have died, and we want to be sensitive to that. But the greater worse is you kill our economy. Many people are losing jobs and hard working. I know one company, I know a lot, but one, for instance, hotels was here for 50 years and they had to close their doors, hotels, restaurant. We've got to get people back to work, and we can manage this crisis at the same time.
What are some guidelines that you want to go through if the California opens up again?
We follow the CDC guidelines. We can do that. I think we could even do that better. But we should be able to sit down and worship. As a matter of fact, on Sunday at River Lakes, I'm going to be outside on the lawn. Even though the church is online, I'm going to be out there freely worshiping this Sunday at 8:45.
How do you feel about the support of everybody being out here?
I think this is great. I think this is a good start, but we have a lot to do. We have to take our country back. We need to open up this country so people can get back to work. I think the American spirit and the American people know how to handle this a lot better than our government.
Now, a lot of people out here aren't even wearing masks. You are, yeah. But it's like, what do you want to say to the people that are actually out here?
Well, one of the things I want to say is I want to always set the example as a pastor, and that's what I want to do. And I think people are going to set their own examples. But the bottom line is this: we have got to stand for our Constitution. And today is a day. I hope this is the beginning of a good start for us.
All right, anything else you want to add on?
I think we need to open up California. We need to open it up. We need to open back up our beaches. Let people social distance. We can do all those things.
Well, you're listening to one of the protesters right now, our photographer Caesar doing a great job there. That's Angela Frazier, one of the pastors over at River Lakes Community Church. And what he was talking about there, some of the words that he said is that, look, as protesters there, they have a right to assemble. We have a right for freedom. If we can go shopping, then why can't we have the right to work if we're in the same distance from people in shopping malls and grocery stores? Why can't we do that? The American spirit can get back and be stronger and set a good example. Noticed he was wearing a mask, and our photographer Caesar doing a great job asking about that. And he said he's setting his example as a pastor. Wherever he goes, he's going to plan to do that. And you could see them doing that. Not everyone, though, wearing a mask. Not everyone setting that example of social distancing or wearing the mask. People just out there wanting to say, hey, I want to get back to work, stop the anti-lockdown. That is huge. As you see all these people, it started with about 100 people there, and it seems like there is more and more gathering near Bakersfield City Hall, right across the street from the police department, but have the legal right to go ahead and protest. Now, with that said, I mentioned it earlier, but I want to get into some of these graphics and numbers so you can physically see what happened today at 10 o'clock. The Kern Public Health Department came out and began to speak upon some of the latest numbers. And let's go ahead and run them down for you here in Kern County. The fourth person this week has died. That brings a total now to 8 people have died of COVID-19 since this pandemic started here in Kern County. There is now a total of 939 residential cases, but we now have 543 of those people that have recovered. Now that means going into the weekend, there are less than 400 cases, active coronavirus cases here in Kern County. And that's important. So moving into this weekend, there could be some hope and some encouragement going on. Now we're going to continue to follow all the latest updates on what's happening in downtown as well as anywhere around Kern County. Head to our website, bakersfieldnow.com, and make sure you click on the coronavirus section. Now stick around. We're going to have more coverage on what's happening downtown Bakersfield at City Hall, where people are protesting the anti-city lockdown. All right, welcome back to Eyewitness News. Let's get to some international headlines. Our own reporter, Fiona Dager. She's joining us now to track the latest updates, not just here national, but also worldwide, what's going on with COVID-19. Good afternoon, Fiona.
Good afternoon to you too, Aaron. Well, as of today, over half of the United States have announced plans to ease restrictions. But how is the rest of the world doing? Let's take a look at how other countries are dealing with COVID-19 today. First, I'll send you out to this video from India this morning. As you can see, huge sanitation efforts across the country. Now, this is in Mumbai, which is India's epicenter of the outbreak. India itself has seen over 35,000 cases of COVID-19, which we know is just a drop in the water compared to the rest of the world. But today they did decide to extend their lockdown by 2 more weeks. And now sending you out to some video from Spain today. Spain has 215,000 cases, but on a per capita basis, they actually have more cases per million people than we do here in the United States. However, their death rate is going down. So right now you're seeing video of this field hospital, and today they're actually shutting it down. So this is the conference center in Madrid that held more than 4,000 COVID-19 patients since it opened in late March. But now they're saying they no longer need it, similar to the hospital ships that we had here in the United States. So that's a look at how things are going overseas today. As a reminder, the world has seen 3.27 million cases of COVID-19. Aaron.
Wow, it's a lot of cases, but I got to tell you, there is hope on the horizon. It's got to be, and that's why we continue to talk about it. Thank you so much, Fiona. Well, one thing I want to share with you right now, there's a couple of things I want to get at. And first off, let's begin with the wind advisory that is up on, you can see up on the screen. There it is. We have windy conditions. Wind advisory that's continuing until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, those winds are going to gust up to 40 miles per hour, sustained winds 20 to 30 mile per hour wind speeds that are in full play. If we look at those wind speeds currently on the back end of those mountain locations, it's still very strong. In the red, what is that, 40 mile per hour wind speeds? Now, this is coming off of yesterday. We had a high wind warning, which expired this morning at 8, turned into a wind advisory, and we're still going to keep those strong winds in play throughout the remainder of this afternoon into this early evening. The valley floor not as strong, breezy, but not as strong as it has been like yesterday. Now with those winds, it really cleared up that atmosphere. Look at that good air quality here for us, and right now that air quality is in the good range. 74 degrees is the temperature, light breeze at 8 miles per hour, and look at the temperatures. We should be on the first day of May, 54 for a morning low, 2 degrees off of that. Your average high is 80. And we're likely going to see temperatures just slightly go a little bit away from there. We're currently at 75 degrees now. I think we're doing pretty sharp across the area. In fact, we'll get to those temperatures in just a moment. 82 degrees for Bakersfield, Shafter 83, Delano 83 degrees, Lamont 82. In the Kern River Valley, you've got 70s here for you today. Bodfish at 72, Weldon 77 degrees. So there's your range. But all these numbers are seasonal for this time of year. 70s for the desert areas, but the few 80s like Boron and Ridgecrest, you're topping out there. Over in Tehachapi, 67, Stallion Springs, 66 degrees. And we have temperatures around Fraser Park from 64 to 68. That's your range. Over the upcoming weekend, here's how it's all going to play out for everybody. We're going to be watching for these normal temperatures that are sticking around. They should stay very comfortable, living in the, which should be the 80s here for us. Let me see if our map will move for us. Right now, I don't know if our weather graphic's going to take us there. I'm just going to jump into that 7-day now. And you'll see with air quality in the good range. Today, Saturday, and Sunday, we have temperatures that, there we go, there's our 7-day. It's going to be running right at 82 degrees here for us. 83 for Saturday, Sunday, 81. Very comfortable seasonal weather. Just know it's going to start warming up. And in case you don't quite see that, we debuted our emoji cast for today, so that way you get a good projection of where this is heading. Take a look. Your payday Friday, 83. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be nice. But then we're going to see social distancing still to be the big issue here going in on Monday with 86 on Tuesday, as things will begin to heat up. And it's next week we see those temperatures start to heat up as we run into the 80s by this upcoming Kern River Valley, Kern Mountain areas for next week. Could even see some 90s and maybe some of the hottest temperatures we've seen so far this year. All right, well, take a look. Once again, we are still monitoring the situation downtown at the Bakersfield City Hall, where it started with at least a couple of folks, up to 100 people. Now it has surged with way more than that. You can see lined up from, this is coming in just right off of that church, just right off, the Lutheran church is sitting right off of downtown, off of Truxton. And you notice a lot of people just hanging out with their flags or signs saying, we want to go back to work. Now, earlier we spoke with a gentleman who is a pastor over at River Lakes Church, and his name is Angela Frazier. He made this case, and the case is this, and there he is right there. We have a right to assemble. We have a right for freedom. We should have a right to work. If we can go shopping, why can't we go to work? And you can see him, he's wearing his mask, he's got his flag, and some people have their mask, and some people are social distancing. Not all are doing that, but he's saying, set your own example on how things should play out. So it's interesting to see as it continues to develop. Now, we do have people on the scene, as you can tell. We have our photographer, Caesar, who's there, and we have another reporter, Tim Johns, on his way out there. Feel free, if you have anybody who's in these spots, have them send us pictures. You can tell us your concerns. We have this running up on our Facebook page, Bakersfield Now. We'd love for you to give us your feedback. How do you feel about this situation that's taking place? You can see someone there holding a military flag, which is one of those flags that are really only given out to those that have sacrificed their lives either in the line of duty or served in the military at a funeral procession. Now, you notice as you continue to walk down the streets at Bakersfield, there continues to be more and more people lined up. Very patriotic-like. There's no one yelling at each other, no one saying any vulgar comments that I can hear. It seems very peaceful. And a lot of folks saying stuff on social media. All right, we're losing a little bit of that. We're going to go for a commercial break for just a moment, but when we come back, our reporter Tim Johns is live there on the scene. We will chat with him for what he says there on the ground. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Eyewitness News. Before we get back to downtown, I want to bring this up. The Associated Press just pushed out that the U.S. regulators have now allowed emergency use of that first drug, remdesivir. That's by the company Gilead. That was shown to help coronavirus patients. They're saying now for emergency use, you can use that. That's big news there. Also, just moments ago, Governor Gavin Newsom, as he's continuing to speak to the state right now, he said that we are not weeks, but we are now days away from California beginning phase 2. Right now, we're currently in that phase 1, lifting some restrictions. So that's positive news. Remember, his whole focus, he mentioned at the very beginning of this week, he was looking for us to have 25,000 testing sites, at least 25,000 people being tested a week. We were at 20,000 as of Monday. I want to take you back now downtown live at Bakersfield City Hall. There have been many people protesting the anti-lockdown that's been taking place. And our own Tim Johns, you're out there. I see that you have your mask on, but many people who are protesting do not have a mask on. What can you tell us?
Yeah, Aaron, we're out here outside City Hall, and this is probably the biggest protest I've seen yet here in Kern County. I would say well over 100 people were here. Going to do a bit of a walk and talk just to give you guys a little bit of a look of what we're seeing. We have folks who have come out from all over to voice their opinion, voice their opposition. You know, people are out here for a variety of reasons. They think, they're out here because they feel like their rights have been infringed. They want to show their support for, some of the leaders who have called for a gradual reopening of the county. Really, there's folks out here for a variety of reasons, but that one, overarching reason that everyone is out here is people want to see our state open back up. And you could see that here with all of these folks here in downtown Bakersfield. I think we have some sound, which we're going to toss to you right now, so have a listen.
Tim, let me ask you this, if you can. Find out from these people about their jobs. Are any of these people working right now, or are they just out there to support those who aren't working?
Aaron, it's a little bit hard to hear you. We have so much passion out here with so many of these folks. We have people screaming and chanting, Open California. We, of course, have many supporters out here just driving by with their cars, honking their horns to show their support. So everyone's out here for a variety of reasons. Like I said, there's really no overarching reason other than the fact that everyone wants to see our state being reopened.
Well, it's true. And moments ago, we just brought this out, Tim, that Governor Gavin Newsom says that we're just days, not weeks away from reopening. And you can just see all the people lined up there. Our own photographer, Caesar, has been roaming the streets there on Truxton right now, downtown City Hall. I feel like this continues to grow further and further as it started with 100 people there. I don't know if, Tim, if it's possible, we come back to you. If you're near anybody right now, how are you trying to social distance between all of these people?
We are trying to do our best to social distance. Obviously, it's a little bit difficult given just the amount of magnitude of people that are here. But some folks are wearing masks, like you said, others are not. It really is just dependent on the person.
Do you see anybody going too extreme? Is there any violent protests, or is this very cordial of a protest?
No, absolutely no violence at all. This is a very peaceful protest. People are just out here voicing their opinions, voicing their concerns about why they want to see California be reopened, to get our economy moving again, and just, try to get used to this new normal.
Well, I get it. A lot of people want to go back to work. It makes tons of sense. Earlier, and I'll bring up this guy's quotes again. His name was Pastor Angelo Frazier of River Lakes. We spoke with him moments ago, right before you got there, Tim. And he was saying, look, we want to have the right to assemble. We have the right for freedom to do this. We should have the right to work. And if we can go shopping, why can't we go to work? We have the American spirit, and that spirit is showing our example how we want to stand for our country and for our freedom. As you see that anti-lockdown protest happening in downtown Bakersfield right now. A lot of folks down there voicing their concern, which is, as you heard from Tim Johns, peaceful protest. Tim, thank you so much. Caesar, appreciate you so much. You guys working so hard. We're going to find out more from you tonight at 5 o'clock. Of course, online, bakersfieldnow.com. We'll have all those updates for you. Once again, today at the top of this newscast, sad to report that the 8th person to die of COVID-19 did happen this morning. That we have reported that at 10 o'clock once that first was announced from the Kern Public Health Department. Well, my name's Aaron Perlman. Thank you for watching here at 12:30. We'll have more for you online, bakersfieldnow.com. I'll see you.